When you think of Zakk Wylde, you'd probably be forgiven for not imagining that chorus is a big part of his sound. But over the years, Zakk has actually been the holder of a signature chorus pedal. And in this video, we're going to look at the newest iteration of that. In the newest collaboration with MXR and Wylde Audio to celebrate 20 years of working together, Zakk has come up with a really cool range of pedals. In this video, we're going to be checking out this one, the Wylde Audio Chorus. So this pedal is actually a kind of continuation from Zakk's previous signature chorus, which is the Black Label Chorus, which MXR came out with. That itself was kind of a step up from the original MXR analog chorus. The layout is pretty much the same, and under the hood, it's basically a bucket brigade style chorus. It's very rich, very warm, very kind of vintage sounding. It doesn't do that super sparkly modern chorus thing. It's definitely more rooted in those 80s and 90s chorusing sounds. This is the newest collaboration between MXR and Zakk Wylde under the Wylde Audio tag. So Wylde Audio is a company that Zakk runs, which makes a bunch of his current signature gear with companies that he's worked with for a long time. The Wylde Audio pedals are made with MXR, and the Wylde Audio guitars that you see him playing are made with Schecter. So this pedal is one of three. There's an overdrive and a phaser to accompany this as well, all of which are basically carry-ons from Zakk's previous run of MXR signature pedals. So before we check out the specs of this thing, just want to let you guys know this is not a sponsored video today. The guys at MXR in the UK have sent me this on loan to make the video with. I'm not getting paid for the video, and I'm not keeping this pedal. As always, all the thoughts and opinions in the video are my own. So with this being a Zakk Wylde pedal, we've got to have the Zakk Wylde graphics. This one is blue to kind of mimic that classic MXR analog chorus. And we have Zakk's Vertigo design that you've probably seen on a bunch of his guitars. Like all the pedals in the range, they've gone for clear knobs here, which I think is a really nice touch because it doesn't detract from the kind of striking visual aspect of the pedal. So this one is a 5-knob pedal. So we've got a level control. This controls the output level. I did find on this pedal that unity gain is pretty much where it, the knob is all the way up. At least in my setup, I did have to run this pretty hot to get a even clean signal. If you are running a slightly quieter rig, you can probably get that down a little bit more. But in my current setup, I did have to pretty much have that on full to get unity gain. And in the middle, we have the rate control. This controls the speed of the chorusing effect, and the depth control here controls the depth of the effect. So the rate is how fast you hear the modulated signal. So the faster it is, the more choppy and modulated the sound is. And then the depth control is how extreme that effect is. So the lower the depth, the more subtle the chorusing, and the higher the depth, the wider the chorusing. At the top of the pedal, we have a low and a high cut filter. So with both of these controls maxed out like so, they're actually flat. You can see there on the pedal it says flat, and as you roll them down, you roll off those frequencies. So if you like your tone the way it is and you don't want to change anything, just leave those full in the flat position and the pedal won't do anything EQ wise. And then if you do want to roll back some highs or lows, you just roll that back slightly and find the perfect balance. Like all MXR pedals, this thing is built for the road. These are designed for Zakk Wylde to be stamping on every single light, so obviously they've got to be slightly durable. We've got side mounted jacks, so there's the input and the 9-volt DC. And then on this side, we have a mono jack here and a through jack here. So you can run this as a mono pedal, just between two other pedals or straight into the amp, or whichever way you want to run it. Or if you want to go stereo, you can add the through jack. This allows you to connect this in a stereo chain. The cool thing with the through jack is it separates the chorus signal to the main signal and the delayed signal. So if you're playing this in stereo, you'll get a big chorusing sweep from the two different amps you plug it into as well. So spec-wise, that's pretty much it for the Wylde Audio Chorus. So I'm going to plug this thing in now and we'll hear some sounds. Alright, so gear-wise for this video, I'm using my 1988 Charvel 3DR. This is plugged into the Blackstar St. James 6L6, which is running completely clean, and the amp's going via the 2-notes Torpedo Captor X. I'm also going to be using the Wylde Audio Overdrive for some overdriven tones later on in the video. So I'm going to be starting with my clean tone, which is this. So I'm going to start with the chorus in this setup. So I've got both the filters on the flat mode, the rate and the depth are both set to midnight, and I've got the level matched so that it's unity gain with my amp. So here's how it sounds with the rate and depth at midnight. So with the rate and the depth at 12 o'clock, you just get that nice warm analog chorus sound. It sounds great. It sounds like a really good chorus. So you heard it there with a humbucker, and then I put it into a split coil mode. So as I play, I'm going to switch between different pickup positions. I'm going to be using the next single coil as well. I'm going to start off just by moving the rate and depth controls so you can hear what they do. So I'm going to start off with a really slow rate, and I'm going to keep the depth on halfway. So you can hear that goes from a subtle shimmer to pretty wacky, pretty quick. Now with the rate up full, it's not as extreme as some choruses can be. That's still a pretty usable tone. That kind of tone is great if you want to play with single coils and get a kind of fake Leslie thing going on. It's great if you're in a pinch and you need a Leslie sound for a gig. You can use a chorus in that way. Now I'm going to set the rate back down to a slower rate, and I'm going to move through the depth control range so you can hear what that does as well. So as the depth control goes up, the overall effect becomes more and more intense. Now I'm going to just play a little bit with both of those controls in tandem with some single coil sounds just so you can hear how they interact together. So you can hear how those two things are very interactive. The depth and the rate kind of work together. The rate is how fast it is, and the depth is how wide it is. With a high rate and a low depth, we still get quite a subtle sound, and then when we crank the depth back up, we get into some of those really crazy sounds. Those are some of the chorus sounds that I personally don't use because they just don't have a place in my sound, but they are usable for some people. Right, so now I'm going to look at the low and high cuts. They are both in the flat position right now, so I'm just going to strum a few chords, and I'm going to start with the low cut. I'm going to sweep that off so you can hear the range of what it does. You can hear that getting a lot brighter and a lot thinner as we go down. Now I'm going to do the same thing with the high cut. So you can hear there's a huge range of EQ sweep in those as well. Now I'm going to turn on the Wylde Overdrive, and I'm just going to play a little bit and go through some overdriven chorus sounds. The cool thing with using chorus with overdrive is you can use it in more subtle settings to kind of fatten up and almost double your guitar tone. Works great for leads as well, and then you can also get all the crazy stuff with added overdrive. So combining the chorus with the overdrive is a great way to get a bunch of different tones. As you can hear there, we can get some subtle kind of fattening up tones through to some pretty crazy stuff as well. So yeah, that's a really fun pedal. I mentioned earlier you can kind of do the Leslie thing, which we can also do in the overdriven sound as well. Just crank the rate, keep the depth a little bit slower. Let's go for a single coil. So yeah, you can kind of do a fake Leslie thing with it as well, which I think is a really cool secondary use for a chorus. If you're doing a gig and you need a Leslie sound, you can kind of get out of any situation with that. So yeah, there it is. That is the Wylde Audio Chorus. Now, like I said earlier on, you may not associate Zakk Wylde with chorus as such, but he's always had a chorus pedal in his rig, and he's had an MXR signature chorus for quite some time. So this is a great way for them to commemorate 20 years together. Let me know what you guys think down below in the comments about the sounds of this thing. I think there's some great analog chorus sounds in this. I am a big fan of chorus because I love all things 80s. And this is one that I think is a great chorus. I really enjoy the sounds of this, and it's very easy to dial in a great sound. Let me know what you guys think down below. While you're doing that, don't forget to hit the like and the subscribe button if you're new here. And I'll see you guys very, very soon. Thank you so much for watching as always.